Content disclaimer: the views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
King Simon, I love him, his family, and he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually. Right. So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't. Yeah, this show is called, it was really based on Numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny. Yes. By King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Numerovation with King Simon. Text me now at 347-496-1022. You could also take my course if you want to, but do text me for your sessions at 347-496-1022. You could also get my books on Amazon at Linktr.ee/King Simon the Numerovator. Remember, you can book your session and get it done right now. 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. King Simon the Numerovator. I try to say I love you, but the words won't come true. In my life, it always been my shadow in me. I guess that love will come and take us to the moon and show how much I never know. I guess I'd be the one to know from right or wrong. Lonely, lonely just like yesterday. Yeah. Lonely won't leave me alone. Lonely won't leave me alone. Why? Tell me why. Lonely won't let me fall in love. Oh, everywhere I go, always by my side. Lonely won't let me fall in love. What's up, family? What up? How y'all feeling today? This good May the 10th. A day before Minister Farrakhan's birthday, a day before the day that Bob Marley transitioned, a day when you add 5 plus 10 plus 20, 24, it adds up to 2039. And when you add that 2 plus 3 plus 9, that adds up to 14. So universally, today is a 14-5 day. And there's some books I want to share with y'all that I'm getting into studying right now. Of course, I am studying Wesley Muhammad's book because I'm going to be bringing him on sometime in June, probably before his birthday or after his birthday. His birthday is June the 14th. Of course, I'm studying the Anunnaki book and the Chariots of the Black God. But there's also a few Kabbalah books that I want to show. One of the Kabbalah books that I showed you. This was referred to us back in today by A. Rashid. This book right here. This one is called Kabbalistic Encyclopedia by Godwin. Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. Good book to have in the arsenal if you are into studying Kabbalah. A. Rashid recommended it. Right now, I'm just reading. I like to read the preface. I like to read the introduction. I like to read the prologues. I like to read the ins and out of the books, when it was written, the year, all of that. I love to read, different things. And David Godwin was born 1939. So the year he was born adds up to a number 4. So communication is something that and writing is something that he was supposed to do according to the year. They don't have his birthday in here, but they have the year that he was born. And when you add that 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 9, which is the same year as my mother was born that year, it adds up to a master number 22. So the guy that wrote this book, the Kabbalistic Encyclopedia that was recommended by A. Rashid years ago. I'm always paying attention to books that people speak about. I pay attention to movies when books appear. If I have the opportunity, I will rewind the tape because if they place the books in a movie, it's significant to what the movie is telling us about or what that person is practicing or acting like they're practicing in the movie. That's why Dr. Phil Valentine, KT the Arch Degree, Dr. Jewel Pookrum, and Suzar, they used to always encourage us to study movies. Dr. Delbert Blair. And also another good book that I've been studying. I've been studying and reading this book for a year and for some years. I've had it for some years. This book here is called Deity Linkage Manual, How to Find Your Gods and Goddesses Using Numerology. It's written by S. Ali Myers. Let's see if I could get to interview the brother. I know I am a friend of his on Instagram, so I'm gonna see if he wants to do an interview. And I understand that he's using the Chaldean system. When I'm one of the people that tell you to use all systems, of course, but he's using the Chaldean system, because when you use all systems, then there's no limitation. There's no limitation, especially if your spirit guides you to use the systems. If the spirit guides you to use different systems, especially after you've studied, because I have a eclectic collection of numerology books all over the place. As a matter of fact, from here to my garage to my storage out here in Georgia that my son and I share, or my family and I share. But I like, of course, Godwin's book. And the first thing he starts off with, he says, "What's that number again?" That's a question he asks on the first page. He said, "Numbers continually occur in dreams, in divination, in ceremonial magic, in astral travel. What do they mean?" You already know. You may not be aware of it consciously, but the collective unconscious is well aware of the archetypal significance of numbers as revealed in the ancient tradition of gematria and the Kabbalah. Originally conceived as a method of encoding esoteric meanings into holy writings, gematria has applications to everyday life that are startling and far-reaching. Just the beginning of this book. This book was written in this book was written in 1989. Well, the original copyright was 1979, and I have the 1989 version, the revised version with enlarged letters. So a good book to have in your arsenal. And thanks to Brother A. Rashid for recommending this book to me and many others at a lecture. And, you know, I have a whole host of books. This particular book is from 1959. This book is a 1959 book, The Science of Numerology Through the Law of Vibration. Very good book by John C. Laurie. John C. Laurie. And he starts off in his book with science of, no, that's not the part where it says, that's the part. The science of numerology through the law of vibration. He says, numerology is the ology of numbers and is a scientific principle used to analyze the characteristics and determine the path that an individual walks in life. It brings psychoanalysis down to a mathematical basis, thereby making it understandable to all. It is also accurately and scientifically reviews the past and foretells the future. Everyone should know that the laws of mathematics is the only proof of any science, theory, and philosophy. For everything must be brought down to figures to be proven and understood. That's what he says in his book in the beginning. Very good book to have. And I big up to Brother Billy Carson, because he had one of my favorite scientists, string theorists. He had Sylvester Gates on. Dr. Sylvester James Gates Jr. was on Billy Carson. It was a pre-recording and Billy Carson his editing team edited, but it was a very good interview that Billy did with Professor Sylvester Gates Jr., born December the 15th. And if you did watch that live with the great string theorist, he was very conscientious of saying he don't deals with the absolute. And I like that, because even in what I do, I don't deal with the absolute in a sense. I deal with what is objective, because what happens why I say numerology from my perspective is objective and not subjective is because there's duality in all that is happening. And in my book, Numerovation for Mental Stability, that you see on my left shoulder, over my left shoulder, I speak about the 4 paths that people can take. And at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you take it. And maybe if you've taken that path, maybe that's the lesson you needed to learn. And hopefully you live long enough that you will learn that it was a lesson that can be flipped into a blessing. So in my book, I talk about the 4 paths of constructive, obstructive, destructive, and complacent, where one can be also comfortable where they at and don't do nothing with their frequency. They just live life in and out every day, do what they do on a regular basis. Where I, the Numerovator, is working on your mindset to expand beyond that, and your numbers can show it if you decide to use it and put in the work. If you're not going to do it, hey, I understand. Some people are still traumatized from different things that has gone on in their life. And I believe books like this, my books, Lloyd's book, books like this is a very important additive to people's life. And if we use it correctly, in my 57 years, and 5 + 7 = 12, and 1 + 2 = 3. So I'm living my second childhood. Once you reach 50, I tell the 50-year-olds to start adding. So 5 + 0 = 5. Go back to your childhood, because if the saying is once a man, twice a child, I'm going to break down the numbers to that one day. Once a man and twice a child. once a man and twice a child, then it's imperative that once we get past the man and the womanhood, that we start to embrace the childhood in a more intelligent way of creating our paradigm, being imaginative as we get older so we don't lose it, because some of us lose our childlike imagination because we have been beaten down by the world because of the stress of family and all of that. So when people like our dear beloved Empress Mother, Queen Afua, says, you have to go back and go to that childlike way of you. You got to go snatch that child from that window who was crying because mommy left or daddy left, or who was crying because they got hurt. That child that got hurt in some way, that trauma, and go back to the fun part of your childhood. And I remember myself, but I also speak to people that feel that they're getting older. I always tell some of my clients to go back to something that you used to love to do. If it's buying Barbie dolls, I don't care whether it's white or black or Asian or Ken or whatever, go find a Barbie doll and go play with it. If it's playing with Rock'em Sock'em Robot, which I used to do, go back and find a Rock'em Sock'em Robot, or go look at a video of when you've seen Rock'em Sock'em Robot do what they do, because those times was when they was introducing the robotic world to the children. I remember Dick Tracy. Who remember Dick Tracy? If you remember Dick Tracy, put the number 1 in the chat. Dick Tracy. If you remember the name or the television or the cartoon, I'm surprised they never invented a television show around Dick Tracy. That would be a smart move right now, because that detective had a smartwatch on back in the 1930s. He had a smartwatch on. I had a smartwatch. I gave it to my son. I didn't feel like I like to look at my time roll, and I like to, some people cannot even read. Some of our young people can't even read a clock. They say they can't even read a clock. They can't even read their own watch if they had the Roman numerals on it. So I am glad that my mind is willing to expand from what we used to do, the Roman numerals, to the digital and all that. So I have a variation of different ways to read a clock. When some people, because they never seen a clock in their life like that, they never seen a Roman numeral clock at that. And yesterday, one of my clients from Saudi Arabia, big up to that brother Ibrahim, he reintroduced me to Hijra, the Hijra clock, which is based off of the Prophet Muhammad's movements and Islamic background. And I'm glad he did, because I looked up the Hijra. I went and got the Hijra calendar and the clock, and what happens, it tallies what your birth date would be under that system. Just like you can go to a gematria, you can go to a Kabbalah calculator and tally what your name or your birthday means. But when I went to the Hijra clock, I found something very interesting, and I love that that a brother, one of my clients from Saudi Arabia. So if you're watching, brother, thank you very much. You don't know how much that meant to me, because I've been studying Islam since I was a child, and I was a part of Islamic movement since I was a child. So, and I've been part of Rasta movement, Islamic movement, Hebrew Israelite movements. I've been a part of different movements, and I'm glad that I have a multiplicity of areas that I can reach to. Christianity, all of that, because I grew up in a family that was either Seventh-day Adventists, or they had me in Catholic school one time. I went to Catholic school, all kinds of, and Catholic school, I couldn't live. I'm glad it was only on the weekends that they got rid of myself. And I think my sister, I'm not sure, I think she was too young to go into that school, but I went into Catholic school, and it was only on the weekends. It wasn't a regular school for me. So that's why it's good to study multiple systems when it comes to numbers. So, and I'm talking about this because today universally is a 5 personal day when you add when you add the 5 plus the 1 plus the 0 plus the 8, that adds up to a number 14, and 14 is a number 5 energy of being able to deal with people and being able to be versatile and adaptable and recognize the multiplicity of things. So this is a good day to do multiple things, but yet because it adds up to a 14 first, the 1 deals with creativity, the 4 deals with structure, and then expand and adapt in your creativity and in your structure and your discipline. That's what the 1 and 4, from my perspective, represents, because in compound numerology, it allows you to open up to crowds of people taking a risk. The number 14 allows you to take the risk. The number 10 now is the Wheel of Fortune energy, but it's the number 1 dealing with the creative and assertive and the paradigm bursting or paradigm shifting aspect. And the 0 is the divine protection, the infinite, the potential, all of that. Anytime a 0 follows any number, and I look for it in your birthday, I look for it in your name, I look for it where a lot of people would just break down the 1 plus the 0 and make it 1. No, not what my spirit has been telling me, especially because I am born under that rebel energy of the misnomer Aquarius. So in the age of Aquarius, we have to evolve our thought patterns and revolutionize our thought patterns at the same time. Evolve and revolution. Evolution and revolution has to become 1. Just like the mind and the heart. The mind and the heart has to become 1. So big up to our dear sister, Sister Myra L, where she speaks about the spirit, the intellect and the intuition has to become 1. But where the intellect fails or might not be able to reach, the intuition takes you there. And that's what I admired about Nikolai Tesla's information. I have his autobiography and a thick-ass biography. The biography is as thick as this, but the autobiography is as thin as this. As thin as this book, but the biography is thick as this. These are people writing about him. But he himself, autobiography, is this thin. Nikolai Tesla is the number 1. He's born July the 10th. Kept it simple. He was real simple. He kept it real simple. And he did talk about that connection between the spirit realm or the metaphysic world and the physical world. The metaphysic meaning beyond the physical. So big up to Nikolai Tesla for those jewels that we are here to expound on and grow. You know, a lot of people may think, and me personally, I don't care. A lot of people may think that I'm a person that be reaching with my numbers when I'm breaking down, because I'm doing sayings and words and all of that. But no, you know, Gematria, Kabbalah deal with words too. Even in this book, as I'm looking for, you know, when you look into the book, you have different word play, different letter play. You got different things that you can play with, where they break down the heart and what it means in Arabic. It breaks down and what number it equates to in this book called the Kabbalistic Encyclopedia by Godwin. Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. Very, very good book. And again, written in 1989. The original writing was in 1979. This was a revision. So what I'm doing is reading the foreword, reading about the author. Because when you read a book as taught by many of our elders, and big up to Trust Graham. He says you should read the footnotes. You should read everything so you can get a full picture, not in his exact words, but I'm saying in a full picture, even because this book was produced by Llewellyn's publishing. It was published by Llewellyn's. I even read what Llewellyn says about the author. I read about the author. You read what if you want to write the author, if you want to talk to the author. I read the dedication and the acknowledgement and why he may dedicate or acknowledge certain people. When you read a book, you read the preface, the introductions, the transliterations, if it's Hebrew, or the English transliteration, what numerology is. He has all of that in this book. He has something about Crowley, Aleister Crowley, in this book, because Aleister Crowley understood or studied Kabbalah and Gematria from his perspective. You understand? So when you read a book such like this, when it deals with information, you want to read all of it so you can get the fullness of it. And then you will extract what you need from it and use it for your benefit. I don't tell you to believe everything that Godwin says. I don't tell you to believe everything that Mr. Myers says. I tell you to take what you need from it and make the best out of it. So any book that I get, big up to Dr. Supreme Understanding, whom I've interviewed, any book that I get, his book, I don't take all of their things as Bible, but I take what I need to make it the best, use my best abilities for it. Good information. What I liked about Dr. Supreme, he got footnotes and he got backing. He be backing it up. And that's what you're supposed to do, because coming out of the 5% nation of gods and earth, or even the nation of Islam, you got to show and prove. That's what we was taught back in the day. Show and prove. And sometimes if you didn't show and prove, you got showed and you got proved to get a beat down back in the day. I don't remember if they did that to women, but they definitely did it to the men, because men were the gods. Earths was the earths, the sisters were the earths. You know, so you know, big up to Supreme Understanding. How you doing, Doc? I hope the family is well. I hope you're well. And again, thank you very much for accommodating myself and Carrie Ann Ingram. And thank you for all that you've done, and inviting us to the house also with Professor James Smalls and everybody else. We're looking forward to do some great work in the future. Me and Doc got something, me and Dr. Supreme Understanding got something that we're brewing on, and he got a nice facility downstairs in his beautiful place that we could also do private workshops in, a nice place where there's a garden and there's and I gotta thank Dr. Supreme Understanding for showing me my first dome home up close and personal. Now, I knew how to build it. I had my son, when he was a child, build one from newspaper, just build the whole apparatus that looked like a monkey bar from a newspaper. And it was by Buckminster Fuller, that was the refounder of it back in the day. But we know that in ancient cultures, we was building round edifices before. So big up to Brother Supreme, and I'll forever be in respect to you, my brother, because of showing me one up close and personal. And finally, I'm saying, yes, I can live in this thing. I can actually do things with it. I'm seeing someone that is doing something with it. So family, be always, in closing, just learn to be around people that can inspire you. Be around people that are inspirational. Listen to people that can inspire you, inspire you beyond the doom and gloom, because they're going to promote the doom and gloom lowers our frequency. I'm going to upload this to YouTube anyway, because I'm only broadcasting this on Instagram right now. But the doom and gloom energy, which, like I've said before, the initial number that rules media, movies, and music is the number 4. And in my book, Numerovational for Mental Stability, the number 4 is one of the primary mental health numbers that can go either way. Like I said, I deal with objectivity. It's objective. Numbers are objective. It's not subjective. You got the duality of two. So just because you're born on the 4th or the 13th or the 22nd or the 31st of any month, don't mean that you will have mental problems. It just means there's a duality that if you don't protect your mind, it can lead that. If you have a lot of 4s in your chart, if your life path is a 4, if one of your names add up to a 4, if you seem to have a lot of 4s in your namesake from your first, middle, last name to your spiritual name, whatever. 4s are an indicator of balancing your mental health, protecting your mental health at all costs. Even the letters that add up to the number 4 in the Chaldean system, DMV, D, M, and V are connected to the number 4. In the Pythagorean system, DMV, it's just like when you go to the DMV and they drive you goddamn crazy. When you go to the DMV and they drive you crazy, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? In the Chaldean system, DMT. Now that's interesting that DMT in the Chaldean system equates or connects to the 4 at different levels, because when we get into these ayahuasca ceremonies and these shroom ceremonies, we're trying to, bring out the DMT, which all of us naturally have, dealing with the mind and going into the spiritual, emotional, and emotional and mental effects of the mind. So it's very important that we learn to protect our mind at all costs, in all ways, and do what we have to do to be our best. And remember, stay away from the low vibratory energy. And if you do have to watch it or listen to it, make sure you bombard your mind with the positive frequencies and messages after you listen to the ratchet or the crazy or the sexy red or whatever you're listening to. If you're listening to that, that's your business. If you're listening to that, and sometimes I work out to some of the ratchet stuff because the beat is fine and you train and you doing your martial arts and you kicking and you find it, and then I will flip it and play drums beats and play the drum. And I'm training, I'm doing my MP and my strikes, and I'm doing my bob and weave. I'm training on trees and hitting trees, and I'm doing what I do to maintain my structure and my bodily functions in case of emergency. We have to train our bodies. And at 57, I can actually say that I feel very good. I've always had lower back pains because of a minor injury that happened when I was a child, but I never had surgery for it. And I'm not going to get surgery for it because I don't need surgery. All I need to do is constantly, every morning or every other day, is do my planks, do my back exercise, my stretches, those my Kegel exercises and all that kind of stuff I do. And it always aligns me back up. I just did this morning. I did my 3 to 4 minute planks. I'm going for 5 to 10 minutes because back in the dojo days, we used to do 10-minute planks to the planks. Some of us was crying on that mat or farting and some people threw up and all kinds of stuff we went through back in the 90s. I think 90s was the last of the Mohicans when it came to martial arts training and training for 4 hours and 3 to 4 hours, when back in the day of the great Dr. Moses Powell or the great Master Duncan, they was training for 6, 8 hours, sometimes 12-hour training. 12-hour training. Imagine half your day in training. Yes, there was rest periods. Yes, there was water breaks. But imagine, and then they were sparring. They're training different parts of your body, and then they're sparring. Then you have to spar. Then you might have to run a mile, or you're going to run amok. One or the other, something's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So big up to all of those great brothers and sisters of the martial arts world. And I had a great sister on last night. Her name was Professor Zahalia Anderson, the daughter of Grandmaster Urban Muhammad and the daughter of the beautiful sister Rosalie, the dance extraordinaire, and also the encouraging force behind why Professor Zahalia is who she is today. And I want to remind everybody before I finish, this weekend, let me look on my calendar. Did I plan on doing anything on my Mother's Day? Because I'm not going up to New York at all. No, I'm not. I'm supposed to do an interview tonight on not my show, but on somebody else's show. I'm waiting for them to contact me. It's a brother, I think his name is Ron Brown. I think I'm going to be on his show, New York Talk. I forgot what it's called. supposed to be on his show at 8 o'clock after I do my sessions today. And on the 11th, I might head out to Atlanta, go chill with my grandchildren, depending on how I'll be. On Mother's Day, I may do a show where mothers can call in or mothers can come up on the live. I like to call in, and I'm going to start giving away pairs of tickets. I'm going to start giving away pairs of tickets to my I'm going to start giving away pairs of tickets to the big event that I got coming up with tribute to Dick Gregory and Ashra Kwesi. I might have another event in between, but I'm going to start doing what I used to do on radio, where the 10th caller or the 19th caller will get a pair of tickets. They might have to answer a question right on the spot. Right on the spot. The 10th, I'm not even going to say the question, but once the 10th caller come in, they gotta answer the question right on the spot. I'm gonna change it up because a lot of y'all like to Google things. Y'all like to Google things quickly. So I'm gonna change it up a little because this is not like back in the day on terrestrial radio where you could ask a question and you just can't Google it. You have to pay attention to what has been being said. And usually I'm gonna do that probably at the bottom of the hour, and always based on something that I may have said or something that I have said in the program. So you can't just Google up and you're going to have to repeat exactly what I said, because these are tickets to see Baba Ashra Kwesi and Numerovational Kwesi, and there's a tickets to see the tribute to Dick Gregory, which is also going to be a powerful thing because we're expecting Dr. B to say a few words, Dr. B Serious, Brother Rich to say a few words, live performance by Brother Red and Blue, and the food will be provided by Brother Blue and his wife Rashida for 2 days. I want them to do both the days. I'm going to keep it consistent. And Mama Tassili has agreed to do the libation. And maybe I'll allow her to vend also just her sandwiches, just in case people want something light. You know, I might talk to her and let her vend that, you know, and juices from Tassili. It's always good to have two different vendors or food vendors, especially when you have a major turnout. And I'm confirming that comedian Mark Gregory, Dick Gregory's nephew, who was inspired by his uncle to be a comedian. So I'm going to text him probably in the next half an hour to an hour before my session. And then I'm setting things. I already got Baba Ashra Kwesi on the list for October 13th, but October 12th on Dick Gregory's birthday. I wanted to get his son Christian Gregory to speak, but Christian Gregory has a prior engagement. So I'm going to get Mark Gregory. So I'm going to send him a deposit probably in the next couple, May, June. I might send a deposit in June or July, more than likely, and July, we're going to set it off with the tickets. And early bird tickets is going to be happening on July the 1st. And I want y'all to get the early tickets. We might live stream October 12th, but we will not live stream Baba Ashra Kwesi or Numerovational Kwesi. He does not like to be live streamed. He actually will videotape his own show, or he already have the production for each one of those things anyway. So we will not be live streaming. I might do an audio live stream on my private Patreon channel, audio live stream, but I will not do a public all video with all his content out there. No, I will not do that. The last time Baba Ashra Kwesi came to New York, when I brought him to New York with Numerovational Kwesi, we have a audio on my Ministry of Numerovation on Facebook. Ministry of Numerovation on Facebook. If you're a part of that, you will be able to hear the whole lecture, the Ministry of Numerovation. I had an audio, and I just had the commercials running while we had the audio, or we just had his picture and his wife's picture on there. And then we scrolled the website and all that kind of stuff. So you can support Baba Ashra Kwesi. So on that note, family, just remember, happy Mother's Day forever to all the mothers, all the real mothers, all the the potential mothers, all the mothers that wanted to be mothers but never made it through mothers, all the mothers that at least had eggs coming out of them during their menstrual cycle and didn't have a child because of whatever you was chasing your career or whatever. You know, maybe you're a stepmama, maybe you're an adoptive mama, you adopted people. Happy Mother's Day to you as it's coming in on the 12th. All right. And big up to the fathers that may have lost a wife and had to be a mother. You know, the wife may have walked out. The woman may have walked out. It happened in my family that one of my ancestors walked out on her husband or on her man and left the children for him to raise. So those things are possible. And, you know, those are anomalies, but those are possible scenarios when it comes to father taking over the mother role, although fathers can never take over the mother role and mothers can never take over the father role in actuality. Fathers are needed as well as mothers are needed. And I wish Father's Day was just as important as Mother's Day. And Father's Day next in June will be the 16th of June. I will be heading to Georgia. I will be heading to New York on the 23rd or the 24th. I will be in New York for my son's graduation. Congratulations to him. And so proud of my young boy. He's been through so much. And I'm happy that he is graduating from high school. And his mother and I said, if you don't want to go to college, it's all right. Take up a trade, learn a business, get something done. You know, he's born the same day as Chris Rock. He's born the same day as DJ Kid Capri. He's born the same day as Charles Darwin, I believe, not Charles Dickens, Charles Darwin, either Charles Darwin or Charles Dickens. But people born under that frequency of the number 7 or born under the 2/7, the February 7th, they should align themselves with universal things to do and things that will reach the audience in a universal way. So I'm proud of my son for graduating from high school. I went to my graduation of high school for all of my children. And although one of them is not talking to me, it's all right. It's all right. Like Dr. B says, and I know, you know, in my heydays, I went through my ups and downs and partying, and at least she's in conversation with my other children. At least they're not blocked from her channel, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, because if you're talking to my other children, then you're actually talking to me. So I love my daughter who chose not to talk to me, and I love her at this time, and that's what we go through. That's what children go through. But I know that, like Dr. B said, I had to learn to forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection. And I am thankful for my life. So thank you, Dr. B, for that information. Thank you for everybody that tunes in and locks in, that support me. Remember, King Simon is about quality and not quantity. So it might be 2 people up here, and depending if there's a star in the midst, it might be 300 people up here. I'm about the quality, not the quantity. That's why my YouTube show is King Simon Presents Only Quality People. That's why my YouTube show is King Simon Presents Only Quality People. So on that note, family, you quality people that stayed here with me, you quality people that logged in and logged out, you quality people that watches me on any platform, you quality people, my quality brothers and sisters, my quality babies. Star has the trolling babies. I don't have trolls. I have quality people, and that's what I look for. Like Chronic says, I do it for the love. I don't do it for the likes. I do it for the love. I don't do it for the likes. I do it because I love what I do. I don't do it for the likes. I don't want to be relevant. I want to be a factor, like Star from Star Report says. I don't want to be relevant. Relevant is limited. But when you're a factor through all ages. And I know Because I'm the Aquarius, that's our mantra. That's our motto. I know numerovation, the Numerovator, in 100 to 1,000 years will be a factor and not just relevant for that time. I want to be a factor throughout time immemorial. And I'm speaking this into the universe because I know it will happen. And it can happen for all of you. That's why I wrote my book, Numerovation for Mental Stability. Because there's going to be more mental instability out there, and they're going to need all of the armors of the Creator to keep them balanced and keep us balanced in this realm. All right? So have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Be safe, be great, be focused, and remember, don't be relevant. Be a factor in your life and other people's life and in the world. Take care. Content disclaimers, views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
King Simon, I love him. He's family, and he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually.
Right.
So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, his show is called, it was really based on numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny.
Yes.
By King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth Carson, and I'm thrilled to introduce to you an extraordinary weekend event happening right here in Miami, Florida on August 3rd and 4th. It's none other than the second annual Forbidden Conscious Awards weekend. After the tremendous success of last year's event with over 1,200 attendees from around the globe, we knew we had to make this year's event even more spectacular. On Saturday, we have a captivating conference lined up featuring world-renowned speakers such as Muhammad Ibrahim, Merkaba 13, Robert Grant, Billy Carson, and a women's panel hosted by yours truly. Following the conference, we'll set sail for a VIP yacht cruise at sunset, where you'll have the chance to mingle with your favorite nominees and celebrity guests, all hosted by 19 Keys. Sunday, August 4th, kicks off with a Forbidden Knowledge book publishing signing event, followed by the highly anticipated second annual Forbidden Conscious Awards. This is a red carpet affair, so come dressed to impress. Remember last year we surprised a lucky guest with an Audi A4 during the awards, and this year we're upping the ante with a chance to win a Mercedes-Benz. So make sure you secure your tickets early. This event is sure to sell out quickly. I cannot wait to see each and every one of you there for what promises to be an unforgettable weekend of education, inspiration, celebration, and glamour.
Numerovation with King Simon. Text me now at 347-496-1022. You can also take my course if you want to, but do text me for your sessions at 347-496-1022. You can also get my books on Amazon at Linktr.ee/King Simon the Numerovator. Remember, you can book your session and get it done right now. 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. King Simon the Numerovator.